Good morning, Year 3 and 4, and welcome to today's spelling session. This week we're going to be focusing on the OUS suffix, so I'm going to talk you through some of the rules that you need to apply when adding the OUS onto the end of a root word. So, what happens when I add the OUS suffix onto the end of a root word? Well, it changes the word from a noun to an adjective, and that adjective means that something is full of something or possessing something. So, for example, if I add the OUS suffix onto the end of the word fame, I get the word famous. Glamour, I get the word glamorous. So some of the rules that we need to follow are very similar to the rules that you've learnt for other suffixes in previous spelling sessions. So the first one we're going to look at is what happens when a word ends in E. Well, if a word ends in E, I need to take it off before I can add the OUS suffix onto the end of the word. So for example, my word here is carnivore. I can see that here is the letter E, but to be able to add the OUS suffix onto the end of that word, I'm going to have to take that E away. So when we look at the word with the OUS suffix on the end, I end up with the word carnivorous. You can see here that the E has been taken away, and before I've added the OUS suffix onto the end. The E's there, and it's taken away before adding the suffix. When a word ends in Y, now there are two rules that you need to follow if a word ends in Y. The first one we're going to think about is if the letter before the Y is a consonant. If it's a consonant before the Y, then we have to take that Y off and change it for an I. So we're replacing the letter. So let's look at the first word. Let's look at the word victory. We can see here we've got the letter Y at the end of the word, and the letter before the Y is a consonant. It's the letter R. So to add the OUS suffix onto the end of this word, I'm going to take off that Y and change it for an I before adding the OUS suffix onto the end. The second rule I need to follow is if the letter before the Y is a vowel. So if it's A, E, I, O or U. Okay, and we're going to look at an example now. So the word is joy, and you can see here that the letter before the Y is a vowel. Now if the letter before the Y is a vowel, we keep the Y on the word. We don't change the word at all. So the word joy would become joyous. And here you can see that Y is still there. So what if none of these rules apply? What if my word doesn't end in an E or it doesn't end in a Y? And I'm just going to add the OUS suffix onto the end. And here are some examples. So the word poison, you can see, ends in N. So I'm just going to add the OUS suffix to make the word poisonous. My next word is the word mountain. Again, it ends in N, and you can see I've added the OUS suffix to create the word mountainous. Now, just like some of the suffixes that we've learnt previously, there are some exceptions, and we're going to look at some of those now. So the first one is if the word ends in OUR. If the word such as humour, glamour or vigour ends in OUR, and we can see that ending there, then we have to change that into OR. So we're basically taking the U out before we add the OUS suffix onto the end. So here you can see the OUR at the end of the word humour has been changed for OUS to create the word humorous. Glamour, we've taken the OUR, replaced it with OR to make the word glamorous. And again, the word vigour, we can see the OUR ending at the end of the word. We've taken the OUR, replaced it with OR before adding OUS to create the word vigorous. Another rule is if the word ends in E, but there's a G that comes before it. You can see from these examples, for the word courage and outrage, I don't take the E off. If the letter before the E is a G, we keep the letter there. So courage becomes courageous and outrage becomes outrageous. And you can see that that E has stayed in both of the words. If there's an E sound before the OUS ending, it is usually spelt as I. So for example, the words serious, obvious or curious. Serious, obvious, curious. And it's usually spelt with an I instead. There are some exceptions to this, because some of the words do have an E in. For example, the words hideous, spontaneous or courteous. Have a look in a dictionary, see if you can find out what some of those words mean. And sometimes in some of the words there is no obvious root word. If I take OUS off, the word is not going to stand on its own. So some of the examples of these are the words like tremendous, enormous or jealous. Okay, so let's have a go. Before you go off to do today's spelling activity, I want you to have a look at these words. So the word is glory. Okay, so how am I going to add the OUS suffix onto the end of the word glory? Well, you can see the word ends in a Y, but the letter before it is a consonant. So think about the rule. I need to change the Y for an I to make the word glorious. So my next word is the word fame. It ends in an E, but it's not a G that comes before it. It's a different letter. So therefore I need to take off the E and add to the OUS. So the word fame becomes famous. So the next word is the word vigour. And I can see that the root word ends with OUR. Remember, what do I need to do if it ends with OUR? That's right. I need to change OUR to OR before adding OUS. So the word vigour becomes vigorous. And finally, the word outrage. I can see from this word ends in E. However, it's got the letter G before it. So remember, I don't need to take the E off. So outrage would become outrageous. Okay, I hope that explained the rules year 3 and 4. Good luck with your activities for today and for the rest of this week. Remember to refer back to the video if you need any more assistance with your spelling activities, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of the work that you've produced soon. Goodbye.